If I woke up tomorrow and realized I had completely forgotten how to speak my own language, I wouldn't go to a language school. I wouldn't buy a 500-page grammar book, and I definitely wouldn't start by memorizing the verb to be. It's 2026. The world has changed, and the way you learn English must change too. Welcome back to Whisk English. I'm Susan, and today I'm giving you the exact step-by-step roadmap I would use to go from zero to a confident conversation in just 6 months. I've seen thousands of students waste years on methods designed to make them fail. Today, that stops. If you're tired of feeling stuck, this is the only plan you'll ever need. Phase 1. Artificial immersion. Now, let's move into Phase 1. Once you've spent that first month getting your ears used to the rhythm of the language, most people make a huge mistake. They try to study harder. But the truth is, you don't need more study time, you need more living time. You see, the biggest myth in language learning is that you have to move to London or New York to become fluent. That's simply not true anymore. In fact, I know people who have lived in the US for 20 years and still can't hold a conversation. Why? Because they never created an artificial immersion environment. So, here is exactly how I would do it from my own living room. First, I'd stop watching movies and start using them. Instead of sitting through a 2-hour film and feeling overwhelmed, I'd take a single 5-minute scene from a show like Friends or Stranger Things. I'd watch it with English subtitles on, never your native language, because that just trains your eyes to read, not your brain to process English. But here's the real kicker. I would use the looping technique. I'd listen to that 5-minute scene over and over until the actors' voices started playing in my head like a catchy song. You know when you can't get a melody out of your mind? That's exactly where we want these English structures to live, in your subconscious. And while we're on the subject of your subconscious, let's talk about your phone. We check our phones hundreds of times a day. If your settings are still in your native language, you're missing out on hundreds of micro lessons. I'd switch every single device to English immediately. It's frustrating for the first 3 days, I know. You'll get lost, you'll click the wrong buttons, but by day 4, your brain stops translating a settings and just starts knowing what it means. This leads me to a very important question, though. Be honest with me. Out of all the times you've tried to learn English before, what was the exact moment you felt like quitting? Was it the grammar? Was it the lack of time? Or maybe that feeling that your brain just wasn't built for languages? Drop a comment below and let me know. I read all of them. And honestly, your answer might be the key to what we're discussing in Phase 2. Phase 2, the output explosion. That brings us to the most terrifying, yet most rewarding part of the journey, the output explosion. This is where 99% of people hit a wall. They've listened to the podcasts, they've changed their phone settings, and they can understand quite a bit. But the moment they open their mouth, they freeze. Does that sound familiar? It's because you've been building a library in your head, but you haven't built the bridge to get the books out. If I were starting over, I wouldn't wait until I felt ready to speak, because, newsflash, you will never feel ready. Instead, I'd start using a technique called self-talk. I know, it sounds a bit crazy, but I'd spend my mornings narrating my life in English. I am making coffee now. Where is the sugar? Oh, here it is. It sounds simple, almost too simple. But what you're doing is training the physical muscles in your mouth. You're bypassing the translation delay in your brain. You're teaching your mind that English isn't a performance. It's just a way to describe your reality. Once I felt a little comfortable talking to my toaster, I'd move on to shadowing. This is my absolute favorite secret weapon. I'd take a native speaker, maybe a YouTuber you like, and I'd try to speak at the exact same time as them, not after them, with them. You want to mimic the emotion, the speed, and especially the linking sounds. You see, we natives don't say, "What are you doing?" We say, "What you doing?" If you don't practice shadowing, you'll always sound like a robot reading a list. And let's be real, you don't want to sound like a textbook, you want to sound like a human being. But wait, there's one more thing in this phase that changes everything. Most students focus on not making mistakes. I would do the opposite. I would set a goal to make 10 mistakes a day. If I haven't messed up a conjugation or forgotten a word by 5 p.m., it means I haven't pushed myself enough. Fluency isn't about perfection, it's about connection. Phase 3, the refinement. So, you've made it to the home stretch. You're 6 months in. You can handle basic conversations and you've built a solid foundation. But this is where things get tricky. This is what I call the fluency plateau. It's that frustrating feeling where you're no longer a beginner, but you don't quite feel advanced either. You feel like you're saying the same 5 adjectives over and over again. If I were in your shoes, this is the exact moment I would pivot my strategy. I'd stop looking for new grammar rules and start looking for nuance. Instead of just learning the word angry, I'd learn frustrated, annoyed, or furious. Why? Because English is a language of emotion and description. To move past this plateau, I would start a collocation journal. See, in English, certain words just stick together. We say fast food, but we don't say quick food. Understanding these pairs is what makes you sound like an insider. And here is the most important part of this phase. Stop consuming ESL content. Stop watching videos made for English learners and start watching what we natives watch. Watch documentaries on NASA, cooking shows, or tech reviews. If you can understand a native speaker talking about a topic they are passionate about without them slowing down for you, that is when you know you've truly arrived. Before I let you go, I need to warn you about the 3 trapdoors. If you avoid these, you'll progress twice as fast as everyone else. First, the translation trap. If you are still translating in your head, you're driving with the handbrake on. Stop learning individual words. Start learning chunks. Don't learn decision, learn make a decision. Second, the perfect pronunciation obsession. Listen to me closely. You do not need to lose your accent. An accent is a badge of honor. Your goal isn't to sound like a Hollywood actor. Your goal is clarity. Third, the app-only delusion. Apps are great games, but they are not English teachers. Use apps for 10% of your time, but use real interaction and native content for the other 90%. Look, the road to fluency isn't a straight line. There will be days when you feel like a genius and days when you feel like you've forgotten everything. That's normal. But if you follow this roadmap, I promise you, the world will open up to you in ways you can't even imagine. So, here's my challenge for you. Don't just watch this video and close the tab. Pick one thing we talked about today and do it right now. Change your phone language. Listen to one 5-minute clip. Just one thing. And if you want the full list of those 300 magnetic words I mentioned, make sure to subscribe to Whisk English and check the link in the description. I'm Susan, and I'll see you in the next video.